So I remember very little. I remember up to that point, we had exercised at just a normal night. Me and Heather going to get a quick bite to eat, and I think we were a couple of miles away from the house and stopped at a red light, started proceeding, and then our whole world changed.
It was the loudest bang, the loudest noise I have ever heard in my life, and all of a sudden we're rolling. It's dark, it's light, it's dark, it's light, and we are rolling in our car. Glass is flying in, the roof caves in, I can't see Frank. I remember putting my hands on the roof and going limp. I had seen that on TV like a night before on some 2020 show. It feels like we're gonna never stop. I remember looking over to my left for Frank, and the roof had caved in on him. And I crawled out through the window and tried to walk around and fell to the ground, and my foot was crushed. So I remember clawing over to his side, and I remember thinking, where is everybody? Certainly somebody saw this. And I remember when I did claw around, I was dizzy and, I just out of it. So I started screaming for Frank, and when I got to his side of the car, I looked up, and he is just laying there limp, blood, covered in blood. I knew he was dead. There was no doubt in my mind. And I knew I couldn't help him, so I was clawing up the hill and screaming, just somebody help us, somebody please help us. And it seemed like forever. Nobody came. And I remember laying on this, whatever it was from the road, little embankment, and feeling around, feeling my neck, and I got to my head and had a handful of head. I mean, I had a grapefruit-sized hematoma, and from what they had told me. So I thought I was next. I thought it's just a matter of time. I've fractured my skull, I'm just going to bleed out. So I laid my head back, and I remember thinking, okay, how do I die? It turned out that Frank had, his neck was broken in two places. He had an orbital blowout. His head was crushed in. His face, they said, his skin had been pushed back from here back to his scalp, which they said that is the most painful way to lose skin. His hand was just completely crushed. Just unbelievable injuries that they said if I would have been driving, there's absolutely no way I would have lived.
The things that I remember from that night are really vague here and there. The next thing I remember, from what I understand being told, after the fact, is roughly 2 or 3 days later, in the hospital on a breathing machine. I didn't know I was on a breathing machine, and all from my vantage point, I couldn't see, and I didn't understand why I couldn't breathe. I was constantly fighting the breathing machine, trying to breathe, and then finally that air would fill your lungs, and you're thinking, oh wow. But then you're scared to death to exhale because your next breath is going to be that much harder to take in. So we got out, and I had broken my neck in multiple places and fractured my orbital bone. Ended up with a plastic disc behind my right eye. About 8 metal plates in my right cheek where they had to reconstruct that. That night, so many good things happened. There was a plastic surgeon on call that night, so I had every surgery that I needed. Hours of hand surgery where they, screwed the external fixator in and got the bones reset where they needed to be, and the plastic surgeon that put these 8 plates in my face to rebuild what my face is supposed to look like, and restitched everything, and then from there it was go home and heal, and that's not a fast process by any stretch of the imagination. But
I remember looking at you though and asking God what we did to deserve this. I mean, but then after the first few times of doing that, I would think it's so easy to be mad. That's just too easy.
I'd have those moments where, I just, oh gosh, woe is me. I can't believe this has happened to me. This is terrible. But what I really remember the most is the first day that I could hold the toothpaste cap with my left hand.
Or put your deodorant on by yourself.
The first time I put my own shirt on, they had made Velcro straps to Velcro a shirt onto me so they wouldn't have to pull it over my head. And the first day I could brush my teeth by myself. And then there's just little bitty triumphs where you take advantage. You take for granted that you can you have two hands and two arms, and then suddenly you just have one. And I can remember having that thought of, God, man, my hand hardly works. It feels like a lump on the end of my arm, that I barely have any control over. And I can remember, just getting mad about that. And one point when I was really just inside, just beating myself up, like, God, this really stinks. I saw this little girl who had a hook for a hand. She must have been 9 years old. I thought to myself, golly, here I am worried and all worked up because my hand doesn't work quite right. But I can feel with my fingers, and I can wiggle my fingers, and my strength is getting stronger every day. And those times just motivated me. I didn't want to sit around and just mope about it. So
I believe the devil's going to try to beat you down at every corner, but you just have to, when you're feeling down, you're feeling depressed, and you're feeling hopeless, you literally just hang on. You hang on to that little thread, even if that's all you got, and you climb back up it.
The way that you move forward and you keep going is that you've got to realize that Jesus loves his children, and you surround yourselves. You surrounded yourselves with a good church family.
That was definitely, I was going to say.
We had such a great support group. We had a church family. I had a work family. I had so many good people at work.
But those people loved on us the way Jesus would have them love on us, and we saw that embodiment, and that helped get us through. It was Jesus, through these people.
God's there for you. He loves his children. He wants good things for us, and you just have to keep the faith, even though you can't see it. You can't see that. You can't see that God's doing things in your life, that he's alive and active and moving things out of your way.
I think we definitely learned that you can be grateful or hateful.
Yeah.
Because there were times where, why us? How could this possibly happen? What have we done that is so wrong?
Yeah, you hear about people. You see it on the news, or you hear some horrible thing that happens to somebody, but you think, man, not me, not anybody in my family, not anybody I really know, is that going to happen? And then there you have it. It happens. There's always somebody worse off than you, and you should be grateful that you are you and you're where you are.